Come witness the magic of old Leo. He promises to make York speak as fluently as poetry right now. So he put headphones on the Duke to fumble Shakespeare's poetry to pop music. York, confused, still tried with hope, while old Leo smiled and nodded beside him. But shortly, York got furious and tossed the headphones, for this Hamlet was a tongue twister. He struggled normally, and now he couldn't even hear his own voice. He felt like a clown being played for laughs, and angrily prepared to leave. Seeing this, old Leo didn't try to keep him, but handed him the recording as a keepsake. Time flies, and before you know it, as usual, old Leo sent out blessings via the radio, except this time after the speech, he decided to challenge York a little. Even though eldest son David was the heir, he was infatuated with a married American woman. Such a royal faux pas. Old King could only hope York would take on more responsibilities. But the stricter the father was, the more York stuttered, struggling to spit out a single sentence. After enduring a full day of fatherly lectures, York returned home in a foul mood. He intended to play a song to ease his tension, but instead accidentally queued up old Leo's recording. The next second, he was stunned, thinking, "Is that my husband's voice?" His wife was equally somewhat incredulous about what she had heard. The following day, they paid another visit. This time, they fully trusted old Leo. York backed this bizarre training. Under old Leo's strict yet subtly heartwarming guidance, York's stuttering underwent significant improvement. Wow, it's truly heartening to see. Though still stumbling occasionally, he improved a lot. He could finally give simple speeches, but his father couldn't witness it. With the king's passing, eldest son David ascended the throne smoothly, but he wasn't happy at all, since being king meant losing the one he loved. Yet for York, it was a blessing in disguise. His brother taking the throne relieved him from the pressure of public speaking and the mocking. Still, his father's death pressed like a rock on his heart, leaving him unsettled. In a long, lonely night, he found no one to confide in. So he turned to old Leo, the commoner, and revealed his long-buried vulnerabilities for the first time. He was left-handed until 5, then forced to use his right by his mother and strapped to boards for crooked legs. For those imperfections, he was scolded endlessly by his mother. The suppressed pain had taken root deep inside like a seed growing. In the end, pain blossomed thorns in his throat, exacerbated by his father's lack of understanding and brother's teasing. 3 years later, realizing the problem, his parents left him with an everlasting scar. Who would have thought that this prince had such a tragic childhood? Old Leo finally understood that York's stuttering wasn't just a physical ailment. It was a mental scar, and after this heart-to-heart chat, they transformed from doctor-patient to friends who could speak freely. Soon, they were invited to a grand royal banquet, which should have been received by the king, but encountered such an absurd situation. When York and his wife arrived, they were shocked to find a love interest of the elder brother greeting them. This raised eyebrows among the attendees, so York advised his brother as king to prioritize the nation. In this challenging time, he needed to protect it. But David wasn't having it, planning to marry his beloved next month. York immediately opposed fiercely. He pointed out that no one would accept such a marriage. Just then, as they argued, York became even more stutter-prone due to his excitement. His brother seized the moment to mock him. All of York's training seemed to go to waste, and his stuttering just got worse. This made York furious. All he wanted was to help his brother face challenges, but David just wouldn't understand. Then, old Leo noticed something interesting. York spoke fluently when he was mad. So, old Leo encouraged him to let loose and curse. And thus, York unleashed a stream of curses had never said before, and his pent-up anger drained away significantly. Old Leo realized that compared to his reckless brother, York seemed more fit to be the king. On the way back to the palace, old Leo spoke his mind to encourage him to let go of his fears. However, as words sent York into rage, he accused old Leo of treasonous talk, suggesting he was trying to incite him to use it. Old Leo asked him what he was afraid of, but York stuttered angrily and stormed. Little did he know, many nobles thought just like old Leo, and that evening, Churchill came to visit him. He too expressed a desire for York to step up as king. Everyone hoped he could take on such a heavy responsibility. Hitler's ambitions were obvious. War with Germany could break out at any moment, and David was lost in tangled romance. York found himself unable to argue back. He could only call his brother again, but David had made his choice. The next day, David announced his abdication to the nation, becoming the first king in British history to give up the throne for love. Thus, York had no choice but to accept his duty and ascended the throne as George VI. On the day of his coronation, surrounded by ministers and portraits of his ancestors, he felt the weight of kingship for the first time. Flooded with fear, despite reminding himself to speak fluently and confidently when reciting the fourths, he still stuttered when it was like a rusty gear struggling to turn. Thankfully, today was just a casual ceremony, and since everyone was on his side, they let it slide. But in a few days, there was an even more formal and serious coronation ceremony that would be broadcast nationwide. How was he going to face the public's gaze then? although York didn't stutter all the time. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and watch York's journey of growth together.